I think the thought about Starbucks is like, oh, you get paid good and, good benefits. But a lot of Starbucks workers, I bet, either work another job or are living paycheck to paycheck. Describe kind of your situation as much as you want to talk about. Are you struggling? Obviously, inflation, those kind of things.
I've always hated the term like, oh, the economy's going so well, because more times than not, it means millionaires and billionaires are making record profits. It never means I can comfortably pay my bills. I've always had to work hard and make maybe just above minimum wage at best. And I know all of us are working harder than Howard Schultz is. He's not getting up at 4:30 in the morning and running around a store making sure everyone can get their coffee when we make thousands of dollars a day for the store every single day.
You didn't see his speech that corporations are under attack by you?
Oh no, they're under attack. Poor them. Oh, he must be so hurt right now. Poor Howie. It's just, we're always going to have to work hard no matter how good the economy is. And I want to see a good economy where I don't have to struggle to pay my bills, where I can work a proper amount of hours, do a proper amount of work, not feel absolutely drained by the time I get home. I've worked up to 70 hours a week. At one point, I had 3 jobs and was going to school. And this job with making less than 40 hours still drains me more than that.
This was the job I thought I could get independent on. I was very wrong, because I anticipated this summer to basically make enough money to get me through school. She won't schedule me enough hours, so I can fill my gas tank, I can get groceries, and then I have to wait for my next paycheck. And then I can't pay my own rent. Even if my parents weren't helping me, there was absolutely no way I could pay my rent, even if I did not have to eat. And this was the month where I was going to give back, I was going to support myself, and there is no possible way I can do it.
I am struggling too. I'm living paycheck to paycheck because I'm 20 and I'm a student at Rutgers, so I have to struggle with affording to go to school and all of that. And I don't have a steady amount of hours every week. I can go from 32 hours to 42 hours when I have to pick up shifts. And then the next week I'm at 20. And it's like, that is not something I can live off of. I have bills to pay. I have car insurance. I have all of that stuff. And to literally have to justify why I'm not making enough money to my parents and to everyone around me is kind of embarrassing and sad, because they see me going to work. They see me working my ass off. And then it's just I can't do anything. Starbucks loves to put on this face of oh my God, I'm so great. I'm such a great company. I'll do anything for our partners, which is what they call the baristas and employees. But they don't. It's just a front for our customers, basically, and for new hires.
So tell me about what made you guys decide to go on strike, and what has been the response from your managers and corporate.
I mean, as a whole, we're just fed up with the union busting. It's becoming too much, and we need to take direct action. The biggest thing happened where Starbucks released a benefits package across the country, and they're not offering it to unionized stores. And they're trying to say, oh, it's because of the unions. We can't do it. We're not allowed to. We would do it if we could. That's not the case. I would also further about our bargaining.
At our specific store, it's really been a problem with getting the stores properly scheduled. We've been closing nonstop. The customers are fed up with it. We're fed up with it. We just want to work our hours so we can pay our bills.
We have, honestly, a pretty ridiculous turnover rate, I think, especially for the type of work that we do. And a lot of the ways that Starbucks sells themselves as a really great company to work for. They think that people are in there for the long haul. But because our turnover rate is so crazy, we can't train people fast enough, for how fast we're losing them. And so what ends up happening is we're throwing people in before they're really ready. So they can't carry the store the way that management wants them to, which is completely understaffed, because they understaffed to meet their sales goals. And the other side of that is, if somebody calls out, because we are so severely understaffed on purpose, we have to close the store because there's nobody to work. In reality, it really seems like they would rather run their stores into the ground and run their partners into the ground rather than bargain with the union and give us the things that we need and the things that we're asking for and the things that they promised to give us and are now trying to take away.
They can give us those benefits. Their excuse is that it would be illegal without bargaining over those benefits, but we sent a statement to them when we asked to bargain for our entire contract, telling them that we waived our rights to bargain over the new benefits. So they can completely legally give us those benefits. They're choosing not to and saying that they can't, which is a blatant lie.
It's funny because as well as he's doing the whole union busting thing, he's also been the best organizer because none of us are taking what he says seriously. And it's just more fuel to the fire and more reason for us to strike and take direct action.
Before I found this job, it took me 4 weeks to get hired from the time I interviewed to the time I started. I was unemployed for 3 months. I submitted 54 applications. I didn't hear anything back. This labor shortage is a farce. They don't want to hire people because that would make them less money. They want to find new ways to stretch us further. It's ridiculous. They don't want to hire people. We have been desperate for new hires, and it took us months to hire new people we're still not properly staffed, but we could work with what we have if we're just properly scheduled.
Well, sorry, you can go ahead. I can come back. So I know from experience, I've actually had this conversation with my manager. She was going through job applications, and she's being very, very picky with who she hires. They may be qualified, they may have the availability, but she doesn't think they'd be a good fit or something like that. She has gotten so many job applications for this job specifically, and she just doesn't even respond to them, and it makes no sense because we are desperate right now.
Most people don't think about it, but like when I go into a Starbucks, it looks pretty complicated what you guys are doing. You're not like just pouring black coffee. There's like all these different contraptions and all this stuff. And when you have high demand, because Starbucks is usually packed, if you're understaffed, I mean, that's exhausting. You called it a nightmare.
It's a nightmare. We're all exhausted. Some of us get here at 4:30 in the morning. We're up at 4 a.m. to make this coffee. And, to not be treated like what we're doing is not only difficult, but it's important. When it's not done right, it can ruin people's day, and they do genuinely get upset. They get upset when they get up to go get their coffee and the store's closed. I get it. This was the one place I thought I'd never work because there's so much pressure. You're here to make or break people's days. I know that. A sticker on a cup can make somebody's day. That's what we're doing. So having the store closed to show people, we are the ones at the end of the day who are making the business. It's not the people getting their money back in terms of buybacks and all of that stuff. It's the people here brewing the coffee, serving the customers. So that's why we're on strike today.
As far as getting a second job, they're hoping we're going to do that because the way that they've recently been union busting is waiting for people, cutting their hours, waiting for them to get a second job, so they have to limit their availability, and then saying that availability is no longer what this business needs, so you have to quit.
Even though they're not scheduling you.
Even though they're not scheduling you enough hours, they're hoping that you will need those hours to live, as workers do, and then they will fire you when your availability is no longer what it was because you had to get a second job.
Another thing I want to mention about the whole get another job thing is this is the whole job market. 3 years ago, I was just talking to Sarah about how I was offered an assistant manager position for a retail store that no longer exists. They offered the position for $13.75 with no guaranteed hours. So this is happening everywhere, and if I just jump to another job that is going to treat me just as poorly, I need to change it somewhere. We need to change it. That's why this union movement needs to keep going, because we're just going to keep on jumping around trying to find something better if we don't fix the problems.
And I really do think that you're correct in saying, if they would just give people more benefits, if they would treat their workers better, accommodate them better, their profits would go up because people would want to be working here. They would come to work and they'd be happy to be here. They would know that they can rely on their job to provide for themselves, provide for their families, provide what they need. I'm 24 years old, I have my college degree, and I still live at home with my parents because I cannot afford an apartment in New Jersey on a single salary full time. I work full time and I can't afford to support myself.
Send parts of these interviews where 24-year-olds are saying, you know, I'm living with my parents because I can't get enough hours. Or 20-somethings are saying, oh, yeah, this strong job market, I sent in 55 job applications and I didn't get a call back from any of them. They don't want to hire anyone. Send the parts of these interviews where 20-somethings, which are their kids' age or their grandkids' age. I'm talking about the voters that keep voting for the Bidens and the Clintons and the Obamas and the Cory Bookers and these establishment Democrats. Send it to them and make sure they're seeing that, yeah, the people you're voting for are basically stealing a whole generation's future because they're screwing them. And they're letting these corporations run roughshod over people. And because they take money, Starbucks donates, Amazon donates. Make sure it's not just your Republican uncle who needs to see it. It's your neoliberal auntie, okay? It's your academic in your family that keeps voting for these status quo Democrats. Because frankly, not to my audience, the baby boomer generation is who keeps voting. They are the most reliable voters. They are the strongest voters. They vote the most, and they vote in general. And this goes across, it's not just old white people, older black voters too. They vote for the Nancy Pelosi's, the James Clyburns, the Cory Bookers, the Bidens, the Pete Buttigieg's. They need to see, oh no, it's not just laziness. There are no good jobs. And this is a capitalist hellscape we're living in. And if you then hear from them, well, in my day, oh yeah, well, in your day, college wasn't $60,000 a year. You can go to college. I think Elizabeth Warren said her tuition was like $500 a semester. Okay, in your day, you actually you actually had unions or stronger unions. In your day, rent wasn't $5,000 in a major American city. So I don't want to hear any more about your fucking day. Thanks for watching, and make sure to tune in to Status Coup's daily live stream Monday through Thursday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time and Fridays at 4 o'clock Eastern Time.